This is Kerrigan and Company. I have to tell you, folks, I think lighting in your home is one of the most important things that you can do to keep the house updated. And when I need new lighting, I head to Lucia Lighting and Design. Their spectacular 10,000 square foot showroom inside a beautiful mansion in Lynn, Massachusetts is decorated with both architectural and decorative lighting in every single style. From crystal and traditional to contemporary and modern, the selection is absolutely unmatched. Whenever I'm looking for new lighting, as I mentioned, I head to Lucia Lighting and Design. And when I'm not sure exactly what I'm looking for, I rely on the expert guidance of their design team. I know that they can help me. Learn more and book your appointment today. It's Lucia Lighting. Hi, everyone. This is Kim. Please join me for a special episode focused on making a difference in the lives of children and teens. This is Kerrigan and Company.
Kerrigan and Company is here for you. Yes, Kerrigan and Company is here for you.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Kerrigan and Company. So good to have you with us today. And we have a really special edition, and I'm really excited about this. All of us know about DCF. We know about the work they do, and we know that a lot of times DCF's work is not positive. But guess what? There's a lot of positive things that's happening in this state for young people. And today we're going to highlight that. We are not going to think about the negatives. We're going to think about the positives. And I am thrilled. Keeping me company today is someone I know who is always positive, by the way. She's the former First Lady of the state. She's also the CEO of the Wonder Fund. This is Lauren Baker. Hi.
Good morning. Hello.
Good to see you.
Thank you for having me.
I know. It's good to see you. You know, you live about 3 blocks from me, and I never see you.
I know. We're busy.
I know. I think you're just running when you see me. How's the summer been?
So fast.
I know.
I know.
We're taping this on August the 12th, and I just can't believe that, we're 2.5 weeks from Labor Day. What is happening?
Yeah. It just went really, really fast, but it's been a really, really busy, in a good way, summer. So, good. Especially for the Wonder Fund, we've gotten a lot done this summer, which is really important to get us ready for the fall.
Well, you've been here to talk about the Wonder Fund before, and I've talked to you about the Wonder Fund on other media outlets. But I was so excited that you said yes, you would come today, because I think we've always talked about the projects that are going on at the time when I see you. But I really was anxious to talk to you about, the impetus behind it, because you, Lauren, when you and Charlie were in office, you really put this fund together. You saw this need, and then you stepped forward and you started this nonprofit. And I don't know that we've ever really talked about that. So I'm anxious to hear, what was it that you saw and why you decided that it was important to start something like the Wonder Fund, and then we can get into exactly what it is.
Well, when your husband is elected to be governor of the Commonwealth, as the spouse, you are given this beautiful platform to shine a light on, on issues or organizations that are important to you. And, that's really the only thing a First Lady in Massachusetts has to do, gets to do. It's not an official office, and yet everyone expects the First Lady to sort of do good work.
Sure.
Well, that's fine with me, because I'm really service oriented. So when we came into office, I knew I wanted to do something to improve the lives of children. And because the governor is a statewide office, I wanted to make an impact across the whole state. So I started looking at DCF as serving a lot of children who are, arguably the most vulnerable in the state. And I just was looking for opportunities inside DCF where I could bring volunteer energy to help. And I thought I was going to focus on social workers, because I figured if you can support the adults around these kids, the kids are going to do better. And then quite coincidentally, I learned about this tiny little nonprofit that had been set up by a social worker inside DCF, which was basically a pass-through so she could collect private donations to buy holiday gifts for kids. And I met this organization. It was called the DCF Kids Fund. I met them because they were doing a holiday gift drive and the governor's office was participating. And I saw it and I was like, this is my thing.
This could be something,
this
right?
Is great.
Yeah.
And I went and I met with them and I thought what I was going to do was help them raise some money, help more kids, and then move on to the next kid-oriented thing. But once I got to know this organization, I learned that the woman who had founded it, South Caruso, had just retired, and she wanted her work to continue. And the board of this little nonprofit was kind of reeling and trying to figure out what they were doing.
Sure.
And so as I got to know them and the DCF Kids Fund, I saw it as having tremendous potential to be a big resource to DCF, not just holiday gifts, but all sorts of other things. And this is what Saf had in her head when she started this.
Sure.
She was like, we could do so much for these kids above and beyond what the state can do.
Sure.
So I pulled together a bunch of volunteers who had experience different than mine, and we reimagined the DCF Kids Fund, re-engineered it so it could scale, and then relaunched it as the Wonder Fund in 2017. So,
yeah, terrific. And since that time, it has grown tremendously, even since 2017. So explain to everybody what your mission statement is. I know you've explained what the first fund was, but now, what is the Wonder Fund?
So the Wonder Fund exists to serve every child engaged with the Department of Children and Families here in Massachusetts with the resources and opportunities they need to recapture those moments of childhood that every child deserves. Mm-hmm. And so our two main areas of service are emergency essentials, which is things like clothing, backpacks, winter coats, things that kids might need in an emergency situation, hygiene kits, all sorts of things like that. And the other sort of pillar of service we call enriching experiences. And that the key piece of that is we will write a scholarship so a child can choose whatever extracurricular activity they want or need to do so that they can be a part of their community, make friends, discover passions, those kinds of things. So that's everything from sports or ballet lessons to driver's ed to getting your certificate to be a nail tech or a barber or anything like that. And they're available to any child with an open case at DCF.
Wow. Which is what makes it very unique. That's what makes this fund unique. I mean, I think there are other organizations that do their very best to raise dollars for holiday gifts or for backpacks, but you guys go that step. This is what I think is just so fascinating about it. And I know you've told many stories about different things that you've been able to do for some of these kids, but the idea that a child could go to camp or could get dance lessons. This might be someone who just needs to feel normal because a lot of their life has not felt normal, whatever normal is, right? But it has not felt normal. It's the goal of making them feel that way. And that must be how this evolved as you thought about it more and more.
Absolutely. There's two things. We are so lucky and grateful to have a very trusted working relationship with DCF, where we partner hand in hand with the social workers who are on the front lines, and they are the ones with the relationships with these kids and their families. So they are the ones who are able to say to us, here's what kids need.
Right.
And the state does a ton for kids engaged with DCF, mm-hmm. right? And they do a lot. And we don't want to recreate the wheel ever or duplicate effort. So we are trying to do sort of the extra thing. So mm-hmm. while DCF focuses on the safety and protection mm-hmm. and the well-being of these kids, we are able to partner with them to focus on how does that child feel? Because you're right. These kids may look normal on the outside, but they don't feel normal. Mm-hmm. Their life is stressful and chaotic and
Right.
They have less control over what's going mm-hmm. on in their lives than most kids.
And they deserve more than just the basics if that opportunity exists for them to have it, right?
Exactly.
Right, absolutely. Give me a great story. I know you got so many that we could,
We do, and the social workers are the ones who send us these stories. And one of my favorite ones is about a little girl named Kayla. She's about 10, and she lost her mother to a drug overdose, and so she was living for the first time with her father, and they were getting support from DCF, and the little girl was having trouble, understandably, in school, not having trouble she didn't want to go to school, not making friends, just having a really rough time. Totally understandable. And she said to her father that she was interested in taking karate lessons. So luckily, the father, said to the social worker, like, she wants to do this, but I can't afford it. And the social worker said, yes, but the Wonder Fund will say yes. So they made the request, and we paid for Kayla to go to karate. And then, several months later, we got a thank you note from that father. And he said, I never would have been able to send Kayla to karate on my own, but she stuck with it. She loved it. She earned her, yellow belt or whatever. And he said, I think that being in karate has made a bigger difference for Kayla than all the other kinds of therapy that she had.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's why we do it. Just, let the child choose, give them some agency, and they learn skills, they make friends, they build confidence, and then they are able to build the resilience they need to be prepared to handle whatever other challenges come their way.
Absolutely. I love that story. It's a good one.
Yeah.
You guys are right in the middle of backpack season. All right. So tell me about what is it?
So, kids engage with DCF, their families are in crisis, right? And so in a lot of cases, the parent or the caregiver isn't in a position to think, oh my gosh, I've got to fulfill that list I got from the school. And, because they have other things, other priorities that they're, trying to deal with. And so the Wonder Fund is able to step in, and we're providing backpacks. We're going to do 5,000 of them. There are a lot of other organizations, God bless them, who also do backpacks for kids. But these backpacks are being packed this week and next, and they're being distributed out to all 29 DCF offices, and they can have as many as they think they need. And
it's awesome. It's great.
We want kids to have, you remember what it's like to have a new backpack and have all your stuff together. That makes you feel good.
Lauren, you took the words right out of my mouth. A backpack is so much more than school supplies.
Right.
This is about the idea that you come to school on the first day and you have what everybody else has. I mean, That's how a 10-year-old feels. And that builds confidence from day one. And if you've come in and you don't have a backpack, then that makes you different from everybody else. So you guys are, once again, fulfilling that, let's try to get some normalcy in some of these kids' lives and make sure they feel good about themselves. I think anybody who feels better about themselves just does better. You're just better, right? So it's really great. We're going to talk more about it because I know you guys are always looking for volunteers.
Yes.
And you do have a huge holiday drive that I know you're already starting to think about and have to start. Which could you do some of my shopping then too? Maybe if you're going to start all the shopping now, maybe. But we're going to talk more about it. But you're staying here with me, which I'm thrilled, and we're going to continue to talk about some of the kids in our state, the most vulnerable among the kids. And some of the great things, though, and the great work that's happening in the state to make sure that their lives are changed for the good. So stay with us, everybody. Lauren Baker is with me, keeping me company, and we've got more guests coming your way in just a moment. This is Kerrigan & Company.
Have you tried Rumson Rum yet? This smooth, sweet, memorable rum is distilled in the Caribbean, barreled aged, and then blended, finished, and bottled in Salem, Massachusetts. Rumson's offers 4 unique blends: Gold, Spice, Grand Reserved, and Coffee. Before you start to sip or mix your next cocktail, ask yourself, do I want to enjoy New England's most awarded rum brand? If the answer is yes, the answer is Rumson's. Get Rumson's rum at liquor stores or ask for it by name at your favorite restaurant. Rumson's. Life lived, life enjoyed.
Grease is the world's #1 musical. Grease is a rock and roll celebration, and Grease is still the word at North Shore Music Theater from August 12th through August 24th. Get tickets at nsmt.org.
This segment of Kerrigan and Company is brought to you by Lucia Lighting and Design, where people in the know go for the best possible lighting and design experience. Welcome back, everyone, to Kerrigan and Company. Look who's keeping me company today, Lauren Baker, of course, is the former First Lady of the Commonwealth, and she is currently the CEO of the Wonder Fund, and we've had a great opportunity to talk about the Wonder Fund. We're going to do more chatting about it a little bit later, but we want to welcome our first guest today. Yes. As we had promised, we want to talk about some of the great work that's going on in the state when it comes to children, and we are so lucky today, and it was because of you, Lauren, by the way. You helped to bring Candace to us today. Candace Gemsky is the Clinical Services and Support, she's Deputy Commissioner, of Clinical Services and Support at the Massachusetts Department of Children and Families. And Candace, it's great to have you with us. We're so glad to see you.
Appreciate it.
You were so sweet and said immediately you would come on because you knew we were going to talk about positive stories. It's got to be somebody who works in the situation that you do. It's got to be kind of refreshing to finally get to talk about good, because there's a lot of good happening.
It is refreshing, and I am really excited to be here, and I appreciation for being able to share the good work that we do, because there is lots of good work that happens every day, and we really rely on our community partners like the Wonder Fund to continue the work that we do. But I think it's always important to talk about the real numbers of families that we service across the Commonwealth, which are really quite large, right? So across the Commonwealth, we service 33,500 approximately youth, which is an incredible amount, right? Really. And I think the thing that public doesn't always know is that approximately 80% of those youth are in intact families, meaning they're home with their families. Only close to 20% of our youth are actually in care. We really work with intact families and work diligently to try to keep families intact whenever possible.
Absolutely. Right? And I think you're right about that. I don't think that most people know that 80% of these kids are still in their own homes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Our mission, obviously, is the safety and protection of children, right? And so that's always what we're striving towards. But we work diligently towards prevention, making sure that we're putting in services, financial services like things from the Wonder Fund, or services that are procured service. I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the services that we provide in the Commonwealth to really keep our children safe, to improve their well-being. So we have, one more thing I want to mention is that one of the things we're really proud of is that we also work with youth post-18. And there's about close to 1,900 youth over 18 years old who choose to stay on with the Department of Children and Families. And these are youth who were in our custody prior to turning 18. And we know, just like everyone else's child isn't ready to go out on their own at 18, that it's important that we give them the financial and the support that they need towards becoming, successful adults. And so we've really worked diligently to increase that number, and we're really proud of the work that we do and having those youth stay on with us and support them. Some of the work we do around prevention is things like the Wonder Fund, which is really incredible, and we're so lucky that our administrative and our legislative partners support us in the mission that we do around prevention. I'm going to talk a little bit about a story about the Wonder Fund I'll share with Lauren, is that there's a 13-year-old girl who went to camp this summer for 2 weeks, an overnight camp. And this is an intact family. This is not something her parents would have been able to financially support. And of course, what did that youth gain, right? An experience, making new friends, fantastic memories that she'll never forget. But what it did for the family as well, for the parents, is it provided them with the opportunity to really be able to go back and focus on themselves, right? Focus on their own well-being so they can improve whatever it is that they need to work on towards becoming better parents. And that's truly what we're looking at the Department of Children and Families. How can we work with the families that we're working with to make sure that we're addressing, obviously, the abuse and neglect, but also moving towards better, holistically working towards improving the family dynamic so that we can create safety for children, which is really important. We have something called Family Resource Centers across the Commonwealth. There's 33 of them, and if you do mass.gov and Google Family Resource Centers, you can get lots of information about them. They started in about 2015, and they've been really an integral part with us around. These are real grassroots organizations who know their communities, know what's available to families in their communities. They are able to service families not just involved with the Department of Children and Families, right, but also families who are out there really struggling on their own. And they have information about whatever services families are looking for. Parenting groups, fatherhood engagement groups, whatever it is. And if they don't have it in-house, they can refer families to services in the community. So they're a great resource. We also have something called S&S services, support and stabilization, and you're going to hear from one of our partners, our community partners, who provide these purchase services that we put into families to, again, try to address whatever the protective issues are, the abuse and neglect issues that brought the family to our attention. They're short-term services because our goal is always to get families engaged in community, make sure that they're connected to whatever community resources we have, but also they're a huge part of keeping our families safe and stable, and we're really proud of the work that they do.
Absolutely. I want to go back to this, the kids that you mentioned, 18 and over, because you and I had a chat before you came, and we talked about this a little bit. And I know this from my work with the Northeast Arc. You know, kids age out at a certain point, and yet they still need services. They still need help. So talk a little bit about what's offered to these kids at 18. They do have the option to step out, I'm sure, at that point. But like you said, so many of them, I mean, I know my kids were not ready to go anywhere alone, you know, at 18. We got them to college, and that was good.
Absolutely.
So, but tell us a little bit more about that group.
Yeah, it's something we're really excited about, and we have a group of staff who specifically work with our young adults, who prepare them for adulthood, and they work on the financial resources available. Think about those FAFSA forms that are terrible for most of us to fill. They can help work with the teen or the young adult and their foster parent or the congregate care provider to do all that. We just had some graduations in the spring, which is always a fantastic and exciting time of year for us. And we had, I have to look down at my numbers so I get them right, 437 youth who graduated this year, and they graduate from high school and high set and GED and community college and four-year colleges, and of course we have some kids who go on to grad school, and it's just incredible. And they're such inspiring young adults. I can't say enough about how much they inspire us and hearing their stories. And I had the opportunity to go to 3 of the 5 graduations this year that were just a lot of fun, and just listening to the kids. And there was a fantastic story there about also the wonderful work that was done with this young adult. And so he now just graduated from UMass Amherst. He came into the custody of the Department of Children and Family in his junior year of high school. I mean, again, a really tough time for youth to be coming into custody, right? And again, we always try everything we can to try to keep families intact, but that's not always possible. And in this case, it wasn't safe for him to remain in the care of his parents. But we worked diligently. We're able to provide him in a kinship provider. And kin for us means anyone who's connected to that youth. It doesn't have to be just blood relations. It can be coaches and teachers and whoever is really interested, besides family members, in providing a safe and stable environment for our young adults. And this youth was able to do that, and he went on to college, and he talked really about how meaningful it was that when he was in college, he wanted to do a study abroad program. Think about how meaningful that is for our kids who are able to do that. It really enriches them and gives them such more of a global perspective on everything. And that's where the Wonder Fund came in, something that financially would have been beyond his reach. The Wonder Fund was able to support him through that and have this fantastic experience. And he really spoke highly about how much that meant to him. And now he's graduated and he's going to be entering law school. So it's really, we just have some incredible young adults that we work with, and I'm just so proud of the work.
Wow, Lauren.
Yeah, I mean, to be clear, we did not fund the tuition for study abroad.
Right.
This young man was able to get, if I understand correctly, like he was able to get scholarships and all that stuff.
Sure.
And, the Wonder Fund will write a grant or a scholarship. And our average scholarship is $500. But for something like this, we will go higher. We'll go to $1,500 or whatever. But the social workers do an amazing job of getting, this group and that group and whoever else to all pool the funds so that, a child receives, a costly kind of experience that it makes a huge difference.
Oh,
right?
gosh.
Really just life-changing.
I mean, that is life-changing. Yeah. That's amazing. I think you also mentioned to me, Candace, that some of these young adults are coming back into the system to help. And you were talking about young people helping with the FAFSA and this and that. So some of them are even coming back into the system.
Yeah, some of the things we're proud of in Massachusetts, actually, we have a Foster Child Alumni Association, which isn't true in a lot of states, and that's something that we support as well. And, it's kids giving back to other kids who experience, difficulties in their own life. And I think, as we talk about normative experiences, right, which is what this is all about, right, whether it's the Wonder Fund or any of our community providers, it's how do we provide these young adults or these children with some normalcy so that they can go about their day and feel good about themselves. And these are people who give back. There's someone up until 50 years old who still comes back and meets with some of the kids who are in foster care. And it just, again, it's a wonderful thing to have mentors available to you to help walk you through whatever it is. But our staff are really incredible. Our social workers are really committed. They work really hard to try to keep kids, as we said, in families. And when not, we know how important it is to try to get them home as soon as we can. And that happens quite often, right? But when we can't, knowing what our responsibility is to those youth and helping them make them successful young adults is really important to us, for sure.
Absolutely. We're talking about positive things, and I want to talk about the positive part of the foster care program. I think sometimes, and I don't know enough about it, so I'm going to turn this certainly over to you, but I have a feeling it gets a bad rap pretty frequently. The foster care program works.
It does. It does. And again, our goal initially, always, and throughout the life of a family, is if a child comes into care, we're always looking to kin. We're speaking to the family, who's available, right? And we talk to children if it's age appropriate around who's available to you, because we know kids do better in their communities with their family. They can continue in the same school, support services, whatever it is, sports, right? So we do that quite a bit, and that's something that we've really been increasing over the last couple of years, and it's something that we know is really meaningful for our kids. And it's best. Kids who are placed with kin do better in regards to permanency, so we know that's important.
Sure.
We always also have a tremendous amount of foster parents who really are just good-hearted people who really care about taking kids in for a period of time, short or long, and really dedicated to making sure these kids have normal experiences, providing them with the safety that they need. We have something called comprehensive foster care, which is a little bit higher level of foster care. We work with providers around that for some of our youth who have maybe some more behavioral or mental health or even physical disability issues that they need a little bit more support. And then we have what we call congregate care, which is various levels of programming for some of our youth who have more complex needs. And we are readily able to have children come into care and then send them home. And that's really always our goal. It's a small amount of youth who actually end up being adopted or guardians in the system. But when that happens, we really work to make sure that that's a solid foundation for them as well.
I love the idea that obviously a child's safety is your first concern. And then your second concern, it sounds like to me, is to try to keep these families together if at all possible. If not, then we're going to make the best life we can for the kids. That's essentially kind of the mantra, is it not?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. And it sounds like to me a whole lot of these kids successfully do so.
They do.
Which is really, really great.
Yeah, we're really proud of the work they do. And it's incredible. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Particularly when you hear these young adults talk about their experience.
Absolutely.
Everything they've been through, and yet they persevere. Right?
Yeah. Kids are pretty resilient, aren't they? And if they get some support, then they can really sort of make their way through, which is amazing. What else would you like to tell us as our time draws near about DCF?
I think, the thing that's always important for us to say is we can't do this alone. We rely on our community partners to really support us. And you're going to hear from one of our community partners in a minute who you're going to be speaking to. But we really need, it's our schools, our therapists, our teachers, our coaches to really be the eyes and ears for our youth and, notify us when necessary, but also, more importantly, try to support the families in any way that we can, right? You've heard it takes a village. It really does take a village, right? And certainly for our intact families, we rely on extended family, again, extended supports. Think about your own experience as a parent. For those of you who've parents, you didn't do it on your own. You had lots of plan A's, B's, and C's to help support you in parenting that youth. And that's some of the work that we do with our families as well, is trying to develop those support networks so that we can keep them safe and healthy.
I've heard both of you say very positive things, but I'm going to give you a chance to say positive things again. These social workers, They're doing some amazing work.
They do. They are incredible.
Yeah.
They are incredible. They really, they are out there every single day, working with the children and families. They, we believe in the work we do. You couldn't do this work, right, because it is so complex. You couldn't do this work if you didn't really believe in it. And our staff are just incredible. And when you hear the stories of these young adults about how much they valued their social workers and how much they did for them, it really is, we're there for the children. We're not there for the kudos, right? But knowing that we made a difference and hearing the stories about how these social workers support families. We have letters from parents saying, without my social worker to show me the way, I don't think we would be where we are today. So they really are true heroes in the work that they do.
They're in the trenches. They're seeing the good, bad, and the ugly, so it's, if you know a social worker, be sure you pat them on the back and say thank you very much.
Definitely say thank you.
You bet.
They're passionate.
Oh, absolutely.
Amazing, energetic. Really great humans.
Yeah.
Candace, thank you.
Thank you.
Continued success. Your success is our success as a state and as a community. So we wish you guys only the best.
Thank you. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
You absolutely. You bet.
Thanks,
all right.
Candace.
We've got lots more still coming your way, everybody. This is Kerrigan and Company. Longer days and warmer weather mean more time to spend outside. Are you ready to extend those days even longer with effective and efficient landscape and outdoor lighting? If so, Lucia Lighting and Design in Lynn can stretch your summer days by helping to create beautifully well-lit outdoor living spaces. The lighting experts at Lucia will work with you to plan a space that's bright, comfortable, and secure. It'll be so great you might never be inside. Get started by going to lucialighting.com, then make an appointment to visit their beautiful showroom in Lynn, Massachusetts. That's lucialighting.com. This segment of Kerrigan and Company is brought to you by Bill Haney's North Shore Music Theater. Head back to the 1950s with an all-new production of the hit musical Grease, playing August 12th through the 24th. Get your tickets at nsmt.org. Welcome back, everyone, to Kerrigan and Company. Lauren Baker keeping me company today, and I loved that conversation about DCF because I'm not sure that people fully understand all the positives that come out of there or all of the hard work that goes into it.
Right. There's so much that, you wouldn't know just being a member of the public, what goes on inside the agency. And there's so many different ways that DCF provides resources and benefits to kids who, through no fault of their own, end up in the child welfare system. And it's thank you for giving us the opportunity to share some of that.
I want to tell you, this has been enlightening for me, and I have always had an appreciation. I have not been involved in the system, and I've had an appreciation for those who work in the system, and I know there's positive stories, and this is one of those ways to share that with other people. So we're very appreciative, and it's a good thing here to have everybody here, and it's great to have our next guest.
Yes.
So we talked about partners, of the Wonder Fund, a partner with DCF, and there is another partner, and I've had the great pleasure of interviewing this guest before. She is the CEO of Plummer Youth Promise. This is Nicole McLaughlin, and it's great to see you. I'm so glad. This is the first time we've gotten a chance to meet each other really face to face.
Really nice.
We've been in the same room even together and didn't realize that we were, but it's great to see you. I want you to tell everybody about Plummer because I'm not sure that everybody knows exactly what it is. Like the Wonder Fund, again, another partner doing some really great work.
Sure. So Plummer Youth Promise was founded in 1855, actually.
Which is amazing, right?
Plummer Farm School of Reform for Boys. Mm-hmm. So we have been around for a very long time, and our services have evolved over the years, right? We are not a reform school. You can't find reform schools anymore, but we are a partner organization with the Department of Children and Families. Mm-hmm. And for the first 100 years, all services, when it was a reform school, were provided on a campus in Salem, Massachusetts. Now we actually have quite a few different programs. We have congregate care, we have comprehensive foster care, we serve young people between the ages of 18 and 22, all of whom have signed themselves back into the care of the Department of Children and Families. Mm-hmm. And so our services really span the state, concentrated in eastern Massachusetts, northeastern Massachusetts, but we really do span the state. Mm-hmm.
And Nicole, how are these children referred to you? Do they come from DCF? Is that how you learn of them? Because I know, we were just talking to Candace about the idea that is a group that's sort of reemerged, the 18-year-olds who want to come back in because they're just not ready to be out there. That's the group that you're specifically talking about.
Yes, that's one of the groups that we serve.
Okay.
And yes, the referrals would come through the Department of Children and Families. But for example, if somebody were in our comprehensive foster care program and they were turning 18, or if someone were in our congregate care program, our group residents in Salem, and they were coming up on age 18, we would be really encouraging them to sign in. Right, to sign back in and take advantage of those services that are available to them in Massachusetts. It's important to say that this is not every state in the country offers services up until age 22, right? But as you all know and talked about earlier, young people are not ready at the age of 18 to be on their own, even if they think they are, right? All of our brain science tells us, right? There's a lot more development to happen there. And so having that possibility in Massachusetts is a big deal.
Sure.
Can you just let me interrupt one second?
No,
Can you
you're not
just give a
interrupting.
couple of examples? I was going to ask Candace this earlier and I didn't get to, but what are some examples of the extra, or the benefits that somebody who's 18 to 22 can have from the state if they elect to stay engaged with DCF?
Sure. So in our program, people often refer to it as an independent living program, right? Because it's young people out in their first apartment. And it might be a studio or a one-bedroom apartment. And in our particular situation at Plummer Youth Promise, what we try to do is locate an apartment that is close to where that young person has personal relationships, or maybe where they went to school, or maybe there's birth family there, or a former foster family, or someplace that makes sense for them, as opposed to a place that's just convenient for us.
Right.
Because everything about what we do is focused on building relationships. Because at the end of the day, right, as adults, we all need relationships to succeed. We're not solitary beings out there in the universe. We all rely on relationships, and in particular, family relationships that you're going to be able to count on. Those people that you call when something really great happens, and those people that you call when something really lousy happens.
Right.
Those are the people you need involved in your life. So the focus of our work for 18 to 22-year-olds, of course, they're in apartments, right? We're trying to ensure either they're engaged in a vocational program, an educational program, work, focused on budgeting, all of those sort of adulting skills. But none of that happens in isolation. You really have to focus on the relationship piece if you're talking about setting someone up for long-term success.
Absolutely. Are some of these youth working, or is it only education?
Oh, no.
Everything.
Yeah. So I would say at any given time, we probably have between 20 and 25 young people between the ages of 18 and 22 out in apartments, and probably half of them are engaged in an educational endeavor and half of them are working. And some of them are doing both.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Talk about, there's also a group home.
Yes.
And I know you guys have a new facility, which is really fantastic. You talked about that campus where most of it happened in Salem since 18 whatever year.
Yep.
It's just amazing. So it sounds like to me it was time for a new facility, right? I think we can all understand that. So first off, let's just talk about the new, I know you're very excited about it, the new building and what's happening there.
I am very excited about it. So yes, in our building in Salem. The building was actually built in 1870.
Okay.
And services have been provided in that building every night since. Right?
Wow.
So it was time. It was time. So services evolved, of course, over the century and a half. But where we wound up was in a situation where young people, so this is between the ages of 13 and 18, and in small bedrooms, right, overcrowded bedrooms, we had very little storage space. So sort of picture somebody arriving to us, so they've been referred through the Department of Children and Families, and they're going to move into our group residence. and they arrive with their garbage bags, because you've probably seen this on the news, right? And they have everything that they own
Right.
is in those garbage bags. Now they come into our building that was built in the mid-1800s, and we say, oh, your bedroom is not big enough to hold all of your stuff. We're going to put half of it in the basement, 2 floors away.
Oh, boy.
Now, if you think about the work that we're doing with young people to try to reconnect them with families, that's really vulnerable work. It requires a lot of trust. And if the first thing you say to somebody is, we're taking half of your worldly possessions,
Right.
putting them somewhere else, you haven't actually laid a foundation for psychological safety, emotional safety, to be able to engage in that work. So that's an example of why we needed a new building. I can also tell you there was not adequate HVAC for us. And we had staff in that building, and staff walking through space that they shouldn't be walking through. So it was time. And we built a new building. It took us a year and a half, partnered with Groom Construction, who have been fabulous partners in this. And I'm very happy to say we moved in the spring. And every young person has their own bedroom. And storage space is right across the hall. They always know if it doesn't fit in their room, it's right across the hall. There's these beautiful family visiting spaces. In our old building, family had to sit in a living room with 11 other kids, maybe coming in and out, or sit in a small office.
Right.
Now there are private family visiting spaces. Family can come in through a different entrance so they don't walk through living space. All kinds of things that were, number one, just necessary, like I
Right.
said, for psychological safety, for physical well-being, but also were designed with the mission in mind. It's all about relationships. It's all about family. So how do we design to really welcome family here? And the last thing I want to say about that is that in our design process, we involved young people quite a bit, and the designs changed based on their feedback, and that was really important.
Sure.
Right? Because they're teenagers.
Yeah.
Right? They have a voice. That's about laying a foundation of trust that we're going to listen to you. And they had great suggestions, and we incorporated those. So that's been a lot of fun, too.
That's fantastic. I can only imagine that has made life much better for the staff, but for the young people who live there, an uplifting, positive thing for sure.
I can tell. So we moved in the middle of May. And the day that we moved in, it was probably about 6 or 6:30, and I was leaving work, and so I went in. So the administrative space where we're there temporarily until we renovate our historic building. Then we will move our administrative staff out of the residential building, but we're there temporarily. So I walked from my office to what we call the great room, which is sort of a dining room common area for the 13 to 18-year-olds. And I walked in, and it was so quiet. But it was the day they were moving in. So like, why is this so quiet? And I asked the 2 staff that were there, and they said, oh, they're all in their rooms. They're setting up their rooms.
Yeah.
And it was just, it was really, for me, it brought home sort of a visceral understanding for me of what this would mean. And then I walked into the historic building, which was now empty. And I thought, this is the first night in 155 years that nobody will go to sleep in this building.
Wow. Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah.
it's been a big deal for us.
It is a big deal. It is. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Because that's not easily done. Just the funding alone, and to get that together, and then to get that design together, and then finally make that move. So it's really terrific. You guys have some really cool things coming up this fall for people, and a day and a half in particular that is really neat. Share that with everyone.
Sure. So September 27th and 28th, we are, on the 27th in the evening, we'll be having a fundraising dinner, and during that dinner, we will offer tours of the new building, and also hard hat tours of the historic building under construction, right? Because the project is interesting to people on so many levels, right? There's obviously mission first, right? How's this going to work for kids and families? But if you're somebody who's interested in historic preservation, you want to know about that building that was built in the mid-1870s. So there's that piece. And then we sit on 17 acres of land, and it's waterfront land, and it's fragile, right? And we all have a responsibility to steward our planet. And so we have put in a geothermal heating and cooling system that will serve both of these buildings and be powered by solar. So we will be, we won't have fossil fuels, and we'll be pretty much 95% off the grid. So if you're interested in environmental sustainability, this project is also something that's interesting for you. So anyway, we're having the fundraising dinner on Saturday night. On Sunday, because again, we have this big, open, beautiful property, we have a community picnic, and that's free and open to anybody. And we will do tours then as well. But there'll be food trucks available, and music and yard games. And
I'm sure you have lots of neighbors there who will be anxious to see what's going on inside and get a chance to see that. What's something that we didn't ask you that you'd like to tell us about Plummer Youth Services?
We use a very intentional model. So it's easy to think about when young people are removed from their families, that it's all about where they live. You know, are they living with a foster family? Are they living in a congregate care setting? But the important thing is actually what happens while they're there, right? So it's not, when I think about our congregate care, for example, it's not just about housing kids and feeding them and making sure they get to school. It is about identifying as many natural connections in their life that you can either connect with right away or restore if they've fallen apart, and ask people or say to people, gee, so-and-so has said you make them smile, you know, and will you be interested in just talking with us about, you know, what their future might look like? So you're not asking people, can you parent this young person? But you are saying, is there something you could offer around our table as we all try to figure out
what the next steps are.
What the next steps are. So it has to be very intentional. It doesn't happen accidentally. This identifying people, bringing people around the table for what they can offer, and never leaving them out for what they can't offer. That's how you create a team, and we all succeed with a team around us. We don't succeed with just one person. We succeed with a team, and that team needs to be people who are naturally connected to us, not who are paid to be with us. Right.
Well, continued success, and congratulations on the new facility. I know that's probably been eating up so much of your time over the last few years. Probably feels like a relief, right? Kind of put this behind you and move on and continue this fabulous mission there in Salem. So congratulations to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You bet. All right. We'll be right back.
Grease is the world's #1 musical. Grease is a rock and roll celebration, and Grease is still the word at North Shore Music Theater from August 12th through August 24th. Get tickets at nsmt.org.
Wow, it has been a hot summer, and while it's not quite over, it's time to start thinking about the fall. And that means taking a good look in the mirror to decide if it's time for a little touch-up. Right now, for the month of August, my friends at Sienna Aesthetics Medical Spa are offering some great deals. If you've been thinking about facial fillers, now is the time to chat with my friends. They're offering $225 off your next Juvederm treatment. That's a big savings. This offer won't last. It ends August 20th. So make an appointment now. Go to siennaesthetics.com. That's siennaesthetics.com. This segment of Kerrigan and Company is brought to you by Sienna Aesthetics Medical Spa. Take years off your face with the very latest technologies at Sienna Aesthetics in Beverly. Well, it's that time of the show that we wrap things up, and Lauren Baker has been keeping me company today. Of course, she's the CEO of the Wonder Fund. I am so happy that we've done this show today because I've learned a number of things about the system as a whole, and just some of the positive stories. And everybody stepped off the desk and continued to tell stories because there's so many to tell. I mean, we don't have enough time to tell all of the great things that go on.
Well, we're happy to come back and tell you more
Well, there
stories
you go.
anytime you want.
That's what we're going to have to do. Let's talk about the Wonder Fund and what's going on right now. As you said, this is the season of backpacks. Are you guys pretty well set for that now? I know you're still packing, but you're pretty well set there, right?
We're packing backpacks every day this week in our little warehouse in Newton, and we're grateful to all the volunteers who are showing up to do that, which is awesome. We're pretty much to our goal of 5,000, which doesn't sound like a lot, but
it sounds like a lot to me.
We're making great strides at meeting the need that the social workers tell us that they have, and we're already well underway on the holiday. We do a massive holiday gift drive where we distribute donated holiday gifts to 30,000 kids all across the Commonwealth.
So let's talk about that. How do people who are listening get involved in that? And people have to remember one thing. I think when we think about holiday gifts, we immediately go to, I'm going to buy toys. But there are 13-year-old boys who are looking for things, and there are 17-year-old girls. You have to sort of span that whole age group when you're thinking about giving toys or giving gifts for the holidays.
Right. And the Wonder Fund serves kids from 0 to 22 years old.
There you go.
And so, yes, we want every single one of those kids, to feel seen and recognized and celebrated on, the holidays. And so the easiest way to learn about it is to go to wonderfundma.org. That's our website. And we will have lots of different ways that you can engage in the holiday gift drive if you want. You can buy gifts on our Amazon wish list. You can donate cash and we will buy the gifts. Or you can host your own toy drive or participate in a toy drive that others are doing. Last year we had about 40 toy drives around the Commonwealth that all benefited the Wonder Fund. And they're everything from, the junior class at one of the local high schools, all bringing a gift and collecting them and then delivering them to a local DCF office to, the city of Medford does an amazing thing where the whole town gets together and they literally fill the town hall with gifts. And,
That's awesome.
It's really special. And one of the things that we get to do because of our close relationship with DCF is we can offer a specific child's specific wish list. And we would love it if, people would come out and choose a child from the wish list. And, it's 3 gifts that the child has chosen. And, you really feel like the child, even though you don't have the opportunity to meet them.
Right. And again, that goes back to that idea that I was saying, that gives you an opportunity to reach in and take a 15-year-old's gifts.
Right.
Because, when we take those generic gifts, we have a tendency to take, match cars or whatever, or small books. And these kids are looking for, something as well, and they should certainly have them. Thank you. Wonderfund it's wonderfund.com.
Wonderfundma.org.
.org. Thank you very much. We'll make sure that we put that in with all of our info about this podcast. So, and I will also take care of putting in Plummer services. We'll make sure that everybody knows how to get hold of them as well, because we've got some fundraisers coming up. We do this thing called Fast Five. It's 5 questions that we ask you to answer in rapid fire. You get 30 seconds. And I can't tell you what happens after the 30 seconds, so you're just going to have to answer.
A big gong.
Nothing's going to happen to you, I promise you. All right, here we go. Are you set?
I'm ready.
Tell me, what's your favorite place to vacation?
Park City, Utah.
What is one client or campaign we would know from your days when you worked in advertising?
Rolling Rock beer.
What was your best event as a college gymnast?
Hard to say. Probably vault.
Wow, that's impressive. Who was your celebrity crush as a teenager?
I don't think I had one.
Yeah. All right. Then I'll let that go. And who is one person in the world you would like to meet?
On the subject of gymnastics, Nadia Comaneci.
Very good. The vault, huh? Wow.
Well, you get 2 tries, which worked well for me.
I anticipated that you would say maybe, I don't know, the uneven bars. Did you do that as well?
I did.
Did you do all of it?
Very good at that.
Yeah. Do you still do any of that, Lauren?
I taught gymnastics
Yeah.
up until a couple of years ago to little kids. I know. No.
Yeah.
I mean, I will, bounce on the trampoline or whatever when I go to the gym, but I'm not.
Yeah, enough's enough.
Well, I'm just afraid.
I know. It's different because there's much further to fall now when you're a little.
And it's just the parts are creaky. I don't want to mess anything up. It's all functioning right now.
Lauren Baker, it's been fun to have you here. Thank you so much. Continued success with the Wonder Fund.
Thank
you. It's a great organization, and again, we're going to put all the information up, and you'll find it in our bio if you'd like to help out with the Wonder Fund and any other of the funds that you and organizations that you've heard from here today. Thanks everybody for being with us. We're so glad that you were here. Please be sure that you subscribe on YouTube and you follow us on social, and we will be back next week. Thanks everybody for listening to Kerrigan and Company. To find out who will keep me company and be my co-host on the next episode, be sure you follow us on Instagram, Facebook, X, and TikTok. Kerrigan and Company is recorded at the Big Night Studios at the TD Garden in Boston. You can view the podcast on YouTube and listen to it wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure you tell a friend. The executive producer of Kerrigan and Company is David Thompson. Our engineer is Peter Hurley, and our social media managers are Grace Kerrigan, Colby Thompson, and Riley Thompson. See you next time.